CPR right now at Koppel. So please stop on in or visit us at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Allo Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
This is Matt Rule bragging about the Big Ten, but at the same time, they made it to their bowl game.
6-6 for me. Yeah, we went to a bowl. We won it, and we won it playing against a team without their best two players. I'm not really buying that, me personally. I think we're a 500 team right now. I don't think we deserve to go to a bowl game. I'm glad we went because we got a chance finally to get some extra work. They got a chance to feel how it feels to go to a bowl game. So that's all done. But taking care of what you need to take care of, I think, comes first.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Happy Sunday. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They will take care of all your imaging needs and then also put together a clear path to hopefully some pain relief. I know that all too well myself. Actually, I'm going to see my brother from another mother on Wednesday, or two brothers from another mother, Dr. Finn and Dr. Razdan on Thursday, and see what we got going on. Or what we can do moving forward. So anyways, appreciate their support and also their friendship, actually, because, you know, I've been knowing them for a very long time, especially Dr. Finn, because I've been knowing his dad, actually. But you know what? It's Championship Sunday, Harrison. It's a long football season. Obviously, with Monday, there was a lot going on. And then you had the national championship game. So we'll jump into that first. And obviously, you know, Ohio State was able to win. They were able to beat Notre Dame. At times looked very dominating. And then obviously Notre Dame showed some fight to come back. But ultimately, you know, I felt like between those two teams, Ohio State was the better team. They were playing the best. They probably, the way that they played through the playoffs is what everybody expected them to play like throughout the year. I think it's a good look and see how hard it is to coach, call plays, transfer portal guys. And really Ohio State is probably a little bit easier because, you know, they brought in the running back from Mississippi, and they brought in Caleb Downs and Will Howard. Generally, most of the guys on the team were homegrown. Mm-hmm. But it lets you know, even with Chip Kelly, who's obviously widely known or respected as a play caller, I think it took him a little while to understand how good the Big Ten is. And obviously, you know, he didn't have experience because he was in the old Pac-12 and had success. And he knows how to call plays, but not understanding when you play like a Michigan or when, you know, really early in the year when they played Oregon the first time, sticking to the run, clock management when you run, you know, call and actually execute run plays. Situational football is when you play against like opponents or big games, it's magnified by 1,000%. We've seen it here, obviously in Nebraska at times, both good, bad, and indifferent. But ultimately for Ohio State, very rarely in this day and age of college football do you get to lose a game of that magnitude against Michigan, kind of more than assume and know that you're in the college football playoffs, rightfully so or not, and then make right the wrong. And so you got to tip your hat to Ryan Day, because those 2 weeks or whatever, how long he had to wait until they were officially into the tournament of 12, probably had to be hell for him.
Oh, that going into it after that Michigan loss.
Well, I mean,
it's all you're hearing.
It's only natural, right? It's natural, right? I mean, you come out and you have I guess a built-in excuse of losing to Oregon. It's questionable with the whole thing that Dan Lanning did with the sub and made with the runoff, and so essentially it penalized Ohio State.
Yeah, it was really smart.
It was smart.
It was legal, and
it was legal.
No longer legal.
But, so hey, look, whatever the rules are, you got to do it. So you have a built-in excuse right there, right? It's kind of like you broke the unwritten rule.
Yeah, it's like a baseball. Right, they got a ton of those traditional, like unspoken rules.
Right. It's kind of like, all right, I'm a pitcher. Our pitcher gets hit or our batter gets hit. We're hitting the next guy the next inning. So that's it. But then when you lose to Michigan the way they lost to Michigan, that's a big thing there as well.
Yeah, because what was the final score? That was really low scoring.
Well, it doesn't. I don't know what the final score was. The worst part was they were a three score favorite.
Yeah,
the biggest in the game's history. And so, they lost, and then immediately, jobs in question. National pundits saying he needs fired. Obviously alumni were probably upset. Fans are upset. And then now you're just sitting there, and you're not going to the Big Ten championship to play again. So to kind of give you your bounce back really quickly. Now you got the players that, get time off. So they got everybody in their ear. Everybody has to make decisions. And then also as a coach, who knows the meetings that you're having. You even had the article out there that they were going to fire Ryan Day and Chip Kelly was going to take over, even if they got into the college football playoffs. So you got to give Ryan Day and their staff a really good job. Larry Johnson Sr. and Brian Hartline of just getting everybody back, and actually, which it was refreshing, because everything that they said about this is actually a good team. We're here to try to win a national championship. We're playing for a bigger purpose is actually factual. Mm-hmm. Because if it wasn't a good team, a good locker room, everybody wanting to go to bat for their coach, you would have probably had 4 or 5 guys declare for the draft.
Yeah, well, I was I don't know if you caught it, but Scott Van Pelt, I can't remember they talked about this after the game, and you don't have to go full the way into it, but there was something about like both those teams really rallying behind religion. It doesn't matter to me what religion it is.
I did see that.
But that was a huge camaraderie thing, I think, for both teams. Like, it kept guys invested, and that's how you had those guys that you just lost to Michigan. But I don't know, that was a big deal for those guys. Really did like each other, those two locker rooms, and I think that helped a ton, just keeping people invested despite the season ending as tough as it did there.
For the regular season in the short term, and the magnitude to have something to bond over and continue to use as a
it was the glue, essentially.
Yeah, the glue. And also to really, the one thing is like, you have a lot of guys, and I don't, whoever people worship, that's their deal. That's the one thing I've learned, growing up. But more importantly, when you're in a locker room, you're going to get guys from different backgrounds, and they feel different about religion and whatever I always felt like just respect whatever everybody wants to do. But then also, I think one of the things that I do know that is a big deal is if you are, I guess, saying that you're a person of faith, then you have to be it. Like, if you try to say you're only a person of faith when the cameras come on,
right,
you'll lose a ton of respect in the locker room, and then actually that will be kind of like poisonous. And that's even if you're a higher up or whatever as well. So it lets you know, what I'm saying is, it lets you know that, from my experience, that everybody in there that was talking about their faith and how they were leaning on it in times of adversity, which is obviously a huge adversity when when you're dealing with the the ramifications of losing to Michigan is true. And so when Ryan Day's saying it about the team, the players are saying it.
Well, even Leonard right after the lot, first thing. And that's how you know he's real about it. What's left to sell anymore?
Right, but but also for him, right? Let's go to Ohio State's for real, right? And Travion Henderson is probably is kind of like Riley Leonard. He's very, very faith based. I didn't even know it, but he is. And then Riley Leonard, when they lost to Northern Illinois, he asked one of the team chaperone police to give him a ride home. And he thought his world was ending when they lost to Northern Illinois. I don't know if you heard that story. So he literally had to get he got on the phone with his parents, and they started to continue to really, use faith to kind of get through it. I mean, I'm sure if they played Saturday and I don't know if they practiced Monday, but probably their first real practice is Tuesday. Dude, those 48 hours, after you lose a game, but let alone a big game, is hell. And so,
especially top 10 team at that point, I think Notre Dame was.
And plus, Notre Dame is like Ohio State. You're dealing with a lot of ghosts of the past, and we see this here in Nebraska. Say I got hired. I mean, obviously Matt Rule's the coach, but just say, okay, we'll just even say Matt Rule gets hired, and people are like, well, you ain't made your record is this in the Big Ten against ranked teams. He ain't even been here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it does have to be brought to the forefront. But what happens is sometimes is they try to just continue along, adding on other people's problems or past losses to you. And that's what Notre Dame was fighting. Is Marcus Freeman really the coach? Is he just was a byproduct of Brian Kelly leaving like in the ghost in the night? He's, you got to think they started off the year before. I think they lost to Marshall and a couple things. And Nick will tell you once he became fully Catholic, he started winning, right? Now, literally, right? Like literally they went on like an 8-game win streak. I always laugh at it. And then now you get up there and you have a highly ranked team. The expectations go through the roof because you went down to Texas A&M and beat them in the beginning of the year. And then you're supposed to roll in Northern Illinois.
At home.
And Northern Illinois ends up rolling you. And the thing about the Northern Illinois game, you got out coached, you got out physical, you got outplayed. You got dominated.
It's so early in the season like that too.
So
you got to assess who the hell are we right now?
Right. So now you're questioning it. Now, even though South Bend is very, very small market, and that probably saved them because it's not, a big city, and they can kind of control the media. Inside those walls, there was a lot of questions. So that's where I think both of these teams, whether it's based around their faith, but then also adversity, it's actually a breath of fresh air because you have two teams that didn't have a lot of transfer portal. They didn't go have 20 guys come in or whatever, where they actually had to really go old school, build team bond, and then obviously deal with adversity as a team, whether it's players, coaches, or a combination. And so, the two best teams are the teams that are playing the best, battled it out. And I felt like Notre Dame, the first drive was symbolic, and it's a crazy thing in football. On defense, if I'm out there for a 10-minute drive, I'm gassed. In the last part, you're in survival mode, kind of, right? Because you're winded. I mean, it's a 10-minute drive.
If you've been out there for 10 minutes, you've been to a lot of third down conversions already.
And they were 3rd and 3. They were getting it. They were quarterback run, and they were pounding you. But the thing about it, though, as a defender and as me watching it, I was like, that was Notre Dame's best shot. They are done. They exerted so much to get that touchdown. And you knew Ohio State. And essentially what I'm saying is, and this is when you will watch today and see what happens against Kansas City, Buffalo, obviously Philly, and Washington, is who just plays they went like all in after the second game.
They needed to get a stop right after that.
Right.
It was absolutely a must to get a stop for how much they just exerted.
But you went all in.
Yeah.
You showed them. You told them to me. You told them your whole game plan. Quarterback run game was your whole thing. You weren't going to run Love for whatever reason. You weren't going to run the backup. And if you did pass, it was going to be a short, controlled passing game. So as they were actually going down and scoring, the data that you're getting from the people upstairs is like, oh, we just got to make one adjustment, and then we're gonna roll the dice because we feel like we can play man to man and we can win on the edges, and that's what happened both offensively and defensively. And I think the only thing that really got Notre Dame back in the game is two things. Number one, there was that drive where Notre Dame's defense caused the fumble, and which was a phenomenal play. And then the other drive where I felt like Chip Kelly got too cute, which was actually prior to that one. And then the last drive where they just kind of, it looked like they were giving up with like 6 minutes left and just running Will Howard, who's not really a running quarterback, to just kind of eat the clock up. And here's where the problem is. And watch for this today. Now we'll dive into championship weekend. You remember when the Patriots came back from the Atlanta on 28-3 in the Super Bowl? That Super Bowl was lost on one play. And Ohio State almost lost it the same way. The matter of 15 seconds in the play clock, which in the Atlanta against New England, it was third down. You had to run it to keep the clock going, because then that either makes New England burn timeouts or burn a timeout. Well, then once the clock starts going again, it's actually 2 minutes off. So just they can't get the ball back, So just think about that. Well, you think about this Ohio State and Notre Dame game is where you saw Ohio State was just trying to, bleed the clock.
Yeah, a couple games in a row where they did that. A little too conservative, a little too early.
But against Notre Dame, and you saw them starting to get a run, right? And you never know, they can break a tackle and go, and they got speed on the outside. They snapped the ball with 16 seconds left. And you're like, oh, 16 seconds isn't a big deal. Oh, yeah, it is. Because it's 50, you can snap it at once, so that's extra 15 seconds. Well, then if you do run a running play, and Notre Dame wasn't burning timeouts then, because I also questioned Marcus Freeman with 4 minutes left. For me, I'm not worried about 2 minutes. I'm worried about right now. I'm burning my timeouts now to get the ball back, because we're going to have to be chuck and duck anyways, right? Well, that extra 15 seconds could lead to another minute and a half. The game's over. Well, the fact that you snapped it at 16, threw the ball incomplete, you just gave him another timeout, gave him a little bit of life. And so so as we now transition to NFL and championship weekend, clock management is going to be huge in the game, against Philly and Washington. Obviously, and it's also going to be not only Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, Kellen Moore. Obviously, Vic Fangio is a veteran. Obviously, I love Vic, and the two head coaches. But whoever blinks first in that situation, whoever makes a mistake. And situational football or clock management early could dictate or be a byproduct of the outcome.
I feel like Sirianni is more likely for that.
Yeah,
Quinn's that just entire staff for the Commanders
is sneaky good.
Yeah, the morning Pearson was right about early in the season. He called just because of that coaching staff in particular, and obviously high on the quarterback. I don't think he would have predicted this far, but he was right. That coaching staff's elite, and they've shown it all year long. Like, then that offense is humming. Yeah. You're lucky to get that team to punt the ball.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about Lane, I always talk about Lane. He's a little quirky. Lane's got egg on his face because he's talking about they think down south that they play a different brand of football. But you got to think he went to Alabama and reinvented himself. And you think about Cliff Kingsbury. I always make fun of him. I always call him the Bachelor because of the time that when he was doing the draft and he was at his house. Maybe it was during COVID, and he looked like he was a house that. You know how they do the Bachelor? They get out of the limo. It looked just
and the media tag along with that the entire time.
And remember, he had like the real nice penny loafer shoes with no socks and sitting there and had a coffee or whatever. But for him, he was fighting a lot of things. How he got that head coaching job in the NFL because he played at Texas Tech. I think they unjustly fired him. He's the USC tight end coach. Daps up with Sean McVay in an airport, and then his agent played it like Sean McVay. He's a disciple. He gets the head coaching job, and then you got Kyler Murray, who essentially was allowed to do whatever he wants, and then also it was all offense. And so Cliff Kingsbury, lost the team a little bit. I think he lost Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray felt like he was bigger than the coach.
Yeah, and it was tough for him because like Murray was just distancing himself from the entire organization for a little bit. So Kingsbury was going to get collateral as a result.
And then Kyler Murray got money.
Yep.
So then you essentially enabled the behavior. Then he got hurt, but then by that time, Cliff Kingsbury is gone, right? And so he had to reinvent himself as a play caller, and could he really do it in the NFL? And you got to give Dan Quinn a lot of credit. He's a defensive guy. He gets his defensive coordinator, which I think was a sneaky good hire too, gets the staff, and then commences to let Cliff Kingsbury do what he does best. And Cliff Kingsbury learned from his, like, I guess I wouldn't say past, because that's like, oh, he did something bad, but learned from maybe the things that he wasn't able to do in his offense in the NFL. I mean, so that takes a lot of humility, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of times you get these offensive play callers, they're like, I'm just going to do what I do. You're paying me anyways. And they felt like, and so for him, I think he's done a really good job. And I think also his connection with Jaden Daniels, and I think his investment into the Washington organization of what he really needs and what he really wants is really part of it. Because when you think of the Commanders, right, it took them a little while to gel, but once they started getting going, they've been hell on wheels, and it's been part of the offense. Because what do you think about Cliff Kingsbury most of the time? He's going to throw it all over the place, and they're not going to be able to clock manage.
Yep.
What's the exact opposite? The first guy they wanted, Austin Eckler. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife. Then you got Brian Robinson, who's the hammer. So when you watch them, they'll hammer you, and then when that sets up the pass. And it's the total opposite of the assumption of, or the perception of, Cliff Kingsbury. And that's a big issue, or not a big issue, but that's been a big part of their success.
It's good chemistry between the OC and DC. You'll see that sometimes where it just feels like the OC is dictating everything.
Oh yeah.
And then the defense is constantly getting out there in bad situations. And it's like the offense, you want to call someplace that just give the defense a shot here. It's like you do see that from time to time. And it does feel like that's one of those teams right there where everyone's in lockstep on what they're trying to do.
I know it's early. I know we got usually have a lot of Vikings fans. You know who used to do that for the Vikings? Mike Zimmer. I'm telling you this right now. He used to make decisions, like game decisions, to protect his defense. If you go back and look at some of the stuff, like even draft guys and all that, that's what he would do. And it worked out a while when you kind of got, when it was working.
Mm-hmm.
But they lost some games and never got to the peak that they probably should have. And as people started to kind of catch on to it, it became more of his identity and a problem. And so it's really good for Dan Quinn, a defensive-minded head coach, believes in an offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, not just to let him do his thing, but then also allows him to be a head coach in the making.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you want to be like, how long do you think he stays with the Commanders though? Because if you're Kingsbury, you're not really looking at a head coaching job.
Well,
I don't think. Winning that situation's good right now.
I can tell you this right now: you never pass up those opportunities. But it's just say the Commanders get through and get to the Super Bowl. Right now, they're down in New Orleans. They think it's Mike McCarthy.
Schottenheimer for the Cowboys.
But they think Mike McCarthy is going to get into the New Orleans job.
Oh, okay.
Right?
What you're saying.
Because of he's been there before. If the Commanders get through, why wouldn't you go for Cliff Kingsbury? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've waited this long, so this is where this is also a big part of the games this weekend, which makes Kansas City a big favorite, because it's not just the players being in this situation; it's the coaches.
Well, we saw that Ben Johnson to the Bears,
but with Aaron Glenn, just look, and you saw it last year with the Cowboys with Dan Quinn. When you're up for jobs or you have a job in your back pocket, you just kind of, I mean, it's hard. You're stretched thin.
Yeah, it's just that bandwidth. There's a limit on that bandwidth. I don't even think it's the coaches trying to be like that.
No, it's just okay. For instance, you're the New Orleans Brass, and I'm the offensive D coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a speed dating interview. It's even if we're doing it via Zoom, it's 5-6 hours. It might be 2 hours here. Talk to your agent. All right, we want to talk to him again. 2 hours. You're not just saying hi and bye.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually trying to interview for a job. So everything in your computer, preparation, all that's got to be on hold. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even if it's an off day, because when you're the number 1 seed, you get that week off. Well, it's not vacation time. You're trying to be prepping. You're trying to find a situational football that might win you get to the NFC or AFC championship. And this is what makes Kansas City so hard to beat, is that you got Andy Reid, who's your play caller and your offensive coordinator. You got Matt Nagy, who's the offensive coordinator by name. And so he's a former head coach. So he's not going anywhere. He's already kind of, fell on his face. And then you got Spags, who used to be a head coach that is very, very comfortable being.
Yeah, he's also one of those. He's just going to sit tight at his coordinator spot.
So you never see their names.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? So it's just rinse and repeat. We're doing our things. We're studying. We're doing our things. Andy Reid probably bringing in barbecue, and they're just doing their thing. Whereas now, I talked about Cliff Kingsbury. Well, Brady up in Buffalo potentially could be on New Orleans again. Radar. So even if you're not interviewing Harrison and you're hearing it, their agents are calling, their wives are calling, their friends are calling. Hey, I saw you. I mean, you know it.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's what makes them. Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt is Joe Witt Jr. is the defensive coordinator. They have Larry Izzo as their special teams coordinator. I'm gonna tell you, me and Larry Izzo used to go at it.
I'm trying to think, where's he from?
Well, he played at Rice,
Okay.
and then he was at New England in special teams.
What'd you get into it about?
Just the weather. We used to go at it, and in a good way.
Yeah,
it was competitive. Yeah, and so Dan Quinn has done a really good job. He's got he's got a really good thing, and I'm gonna say this before we go to break. He's got 1, 2. Dang, I didn't even know this. He's got 3, 4, 5. I mean, he's got 6, 7. I always say this is a new trend. 8, 9, 10. He's got in his staff, assistants and all that, just off of the top of my head, 10 guys that used to play. 10.
Is that the winning recipe, you think, for a lot of the staffs? When you get to I don't think you need to be a former player to be a head coach, but it certainly helps, especially when you're getting.
It helps at the position groups because you're able to. I think coaching has changed where it used to be, okay, where you had to go coach high school for 50 years and all that, and you got to be able to draw plays. Now everything's on on computer.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about the nuances of the game. And some of them have played for Dan Quinn, and some of them haven't. Jason Simmons is a dude I know very well. He played everything. As a matter of fact, when I was in Houston, I'm going to tell you a quick story about Jason. He came in, he was a corner, had a little bit of slight of hamstring. He had a really decent preseason, but he was a little bit hurt, right? And he was good enough to play corner, I felt like. But then I walked into, I don't know, I was going to get a bonus check that I hit an incentive, and just walked into Dom Caper's office. I was on my phone just walking in there because I didn't want to go in there. I don't like going. Every time I go to a coach's office, I feel like I'm getting called to the principal's. I'm in trouble, and I wasn't. But so I was on my phone and trying to do that, and I looked up, and it's like a big board like that, and they were actually going to release Jason Simmons. And I was like, dude, I said, Dom, listen, I had a little bit of power because I was getting a check. I said, this dude is the real deal. And he's like, you think so? I was like, I know so. I was like, you can trust him. And oddly enough, we had a safety who was late to a meeting, but he got hurt. So Jason was like, I'll do anything. And then he became a special teams core player and all that. And plus, he's a solid dude, man. This dude, Jason Simmons, he used to push my buttons, but he'd do it in the right way. And so I love him to death, and I'm happy for him. Very solid dude, very, very dude. So he's got a really good staff. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back. I'm going to predict. Well, first of all, I already predicted Buffalo. So I guess we'll concentrate on the first game. Who's going to win, Washington or Philly? Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com. Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started. Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through January 29th is $2 off bacon, $2 off summer sausage, and 20% off on crackers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
You need to go back there sometime soon? Get the CTE checked out?
No comment. Trust me, it's coming. But anyways, it's championship weekend. I had to tell some stuff about my man Jason Simmons. They had a really good staff. They actually had a couple more guys that I didn't know.
Yeah, you went through it. That staff is loaded.
Yeah, I played against some of those guys, and actually, what's crazy is that some of those guys are more recent playing, so it lets you know that in their they're the type of players that I guess I would say this: if you're a head coach, should know a former player that can be a coach.
I was gonna say, well, like, how do you tell that? Because there are a lot of former athletes that don't make great coaches, and then
just the guy, just who they are as a person. Are you really somebody that's there to serve, or are you about yourself? That's number one. Number two, were you you had to be a studious player. Generally, I think the best coaches are guys that are just nuts and bolts guys, because that's generally what the league is. And sometimes, like, the best players are so individually driven, they aren't, very good coaches, because they sometimes expect players to play at the level that they did. Like, for me, Mike Singletary was a really good coach. Very green as far as knowing the nuances of it, but a very good coach, very good motivator. So he's probably, one that's a little bit different, but you saw some of the stuff that he probably wasn't as good at. And when he was in San Francisco, he had some assistant coaches kind of stabbing him in the back, and that's what coaches usually worry about. Can I trust you and all this other stuff? But then you get a guys like, I remember, there's no way Michael Jordan would be a good coach.
No shot.
And it has nothing to do against Michael Jordan.
I mean, he's the greatest, not a great owner right now, so he's 0 for 1.
Yeah. Well, he made some money.
Well, yeah. He's got 6 rings too, so he's doing better than me. Don't get me wrong.
He's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he is.
He's very dedicated.
Period.
And it would be so hard for him to coach kids or athletes that I think he could probably come to terms with if you couldn't perform, because he played with guys that just had to play certain roles. These guys don't work that hard. They don't love basketball. So he ain't calling a pick and roll for a guy that's just come to practice late. And so that's where I think, some of, where that's a little bit hard for those type of guys. And it's rightfully so. But then you see like a Steve Kerr, a guy that's learned from, he was at the Spurs, he was at the Bulls. So he learned from Popovich and Phil Jackson. He was a really good player in college, and then he had to play a role in the league. And so then he played with he was never the lead dog. He was part of it.
Yeah.
So then when he's coaching, he had to find different ways for him to be successful. So when he takes over Golden State, and you got Steph Curry, who they're saying is too small. You got Draymond Green that's kind of doesn't have a position. And you got a guy that's just a spot up shooter. Well, most coaches at that time were like, I don't want to touch Golden State. He was like, oh no. Mark Jackson laid the foundation here. Now I'm going to take this a little bit Greg Popovich and bring in guys and play roles. That's where they had remember they had the death lineup and all that stuff, and find ways to win. That's what I think former players make really good coaches. Obviously, you got to be a communicator, but I think also that's what they used to say. You couldn't communicate, but now I think it's totally different, because I can communicate with athletes at a different level. Doesn't matter the age group.
There's some luck there too. I think you're right though with Steve Kerr. Like, you go back, it's like, man, I hope you turn out a coach if you're under all those greats. Some of it's luck, some of it's like you definitely got to be the right guy in the right situation though. Like, it can't just be anybody.
You got to think he was on TV. He was great.
Yeah.
So he didn't go right into coaching. And that's how it used to be. Remember, in order to get a pro job, you had to start at the bottom. Well, now they're taking guys from out of the boot. JJ Redick, Steve Kerr, is because they're mined for the game. They're coaching and preparing because they're calling 82 however many games.
How do you feel about college though, when you get, just because it's such a different, not that the guys can't do it, but I do wonder what that dynamic's like when you have a former player who's maybe just outside of the NIL era and teaching a position group with a bunch of kids that are just making way more money.
You're saying if it was me?
Yeah, because if you're going to be a position coach, there's going to be...
If I'm a position person, I got to do my job. Get your money, dude. But what you're making, your money, I'm here to make you more money. And what you're doing without your money, now I'll be here if you need some help. But all that, like the shaking hands, kissing babies, and shooting commercials when we're here, that's not even secondary. That is like way down the line. So I wouldn't have a problem with it.
I wonder if how many of that clicks though.
Because listen, dude, if I'm the coach, we're gonna respect each other. I'm never gonna disrespect you personally. If I'm gonna be on you, I'm gonna love and like all of you, right? But I might not love and like how you've been playing or how you're preparing, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Well, you're gonna respect me, Jack. Right now, we're gonna find if it's got to be different ways, whatever, because I'm never gonna disrespect you, and I respect the same. And yeah, you make more money, but you still only 18 to 22 years old. So what I'm trying to give you is trying to get you to where I'm at, and get you to a place that where everything that you're saying right now, that you can come to fruition. So it is a little bit tricky because, say you bring in the next coming of a LT, and I'm coaching him.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you got to really have a good open line of communications with the head coach or whatever, because they could just go and talk to the head coach because they make so much money, and say, look, man, Coach Foreman is working me too hard, and then it happens. And here's a funny story. Won't say the guy's name. We had the same agent, and towards the end of my career, my first 7 years in the league were good, right? And I always tell people ask me about the NFL, like I was a good player, definitely above average. Wasn't, Ray Lewis or whatever I would like to be. There was a couple years I felt like my game was just right there, right? I mean, the facts are the facts. Like, you got my name. I'm up there leading the league in tackles twice, and tackles for loss and efficiency right then. That's it. But they're the Hall of Famers, and I'm just Jay Foreman, and I'm cool with that. And so my last couple years after I broke my leg literally in half, I went to San Francisco, but out there they had a linebacker. We had the same agent, so it was cool. And then Mike Singletary. You go out to San Francisco, they bring you in, and it is like dew on the field. I'm in like Air Force Ones. I'm flying across the country, right? So I don't have any cleats or anything once they bring me in, because I'm just kind of getting back to I'm healthy, but I hadn't been playing. He has me out there doing linebacker drills in Air Force, dude. I'm like, here goes an ankle
with the wet dew on the ground.
Wet dew on the ground, because you got to get over there early. I'm staying in a hotel. I got to get there early, so I'm sitting in. You know what I mean? The equipment guy ain't hardly even getting going. I don't have any like not underwear, but like
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the hell are we doing out here? No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just waiting to get my stuff.
Right.
He's like, hey, let's go. I heard we signed you or whatever, right? And so, but we had the same. Another player had the same agent, and I remember going through the first like group work. I was like, yo, this dude is crazy. We in like week 8. When I tell you it was like military, and you're new,
and
you're not in football shape. I'm in workout shape, and you can't show any weakness. This is Mike Singletary, and I remember D. Smitty and Derek Smith. He was laughing at me. He was like, "Yeah," and I'm in year 8. 7, I'm in year 9. Like, bro, right? Like, there's no breaks.
Mm-hmm.
But they knew how to kind of like look like they're in line, get out. But I'm taking every rep because I'm trying to, right?
Yeah.
So then we started talking as we started playing, and I started to just, I was a backup player, special teams, and they were like, yeah, so-and-so signed with, I can't say the team because it'll tell it, signed with a division rival based on how hard he worked them in during the season in group work. Signed for less money, about the same money, but you have to figure like you're here. They drafted you high too. He went to the other team. Like, yeah, that dude crazy. He worked me too hard. And hey,
that's insane.
It's verified. So yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation, but
there's no way workouts like that are happening anymore. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Not to like that, dog. He had this shoot. Now, I'm 6'3".
Mm-hmm.
Mike Singletary might be 5'10". If they say anything else, he's short, right? They had this shoot, Harrison, where he wanted you to get low. So if you watch,
it's like the lineman shoot where you gotta get in your stance and go all the way through it, and don't let your helmet.
So you 3 yards back there, and they kind of do this drill, and you got to come through there. So if you 5'9", I just throw another 3. I'm 6 inches taller than you. I got longer legs. Hey, it was tearing the top of my helmet up. He was like, "Dang, Foreman." He's like, "You gonna get a concussion?" But then you embarrassed. And D. Smitty and never laughing.
The shoot's embarrassing because we had those in high school and we had some big guy. He won't mind me saying it, but big old lineman. He was a beast in C2, but he cannot. He was getting just drilling his head on the top of that.
And that was the first day.
And you just hear a ping, ping all day, and everyone just clowning.
It was the first day, and then after it got better, but it's a little different. It's no different in the pros where you look at Jerry Jones as we're talking about, and obviously we'll get to the predictions last one, obviously. But whereas Schottenheimer has hired a lot of those players, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, they'll go right to Jerry. That's always been the problem, because if the coach wants to coach you, you go right to the owner. He's the owner and the GM. You can't really do anything. You just got to kind of ride the wave. Now, I do think Schottenheimer will do well, but I would ask this: will he do any better than Mike McCarthy?
No, that's where I'm at. I don't know. Schottenheimer's interesting because he's never been an NFL head coach, or he's been everywhere. He's got a long history.
Yeah,
they thought maybe Flus is the DC down there,
but I think
the roster's not going to be.
But I think the roster's going to be worse.
Uh-huh.
The salary cap situation isn't very good, and that's all on Jerry because you got to sign back a whole bunch of guys. But I just think he'll do all right. It's not the ideal situation, and it's probably you can't pass the job up though either.
It's just it sucks for him because anybody, I just never think that's the ideal situation as Cowboys. A lot of pressure, not entirely in your control, but at the end of the day, you're going to get blamed for it.
You have zero control.
Yeah,
and you actually get zero credibility right now. And I understand Jerry's the owner and all that, and you got to respect, and he's done a lot of great things, but it'll be interesting because the Cowboys drive the media in the offseason, but it's a tremendous opportunity. But when you think about, as we're talking about, whether it's NIL with present, college football and the NFL, there is no difference. It's just, kind of shaped differently. And how you navigate everything outside of the football field is huge. We talked about the coaching staffs, the continuity. Guys, you got a coordinator or two in each of these games that potentially could be up for other jobs. You never know if Kellen Moore is still getting looks. You're going to be spread thin. Does that creep into a second quarter, third down play? You know what I mean? Because if I'm Washington and the game's close and I can extend the drive before halftime and take the momentum out of Philly's hands to maybe they get a quick score before halftime, and say Philly does get the ball at start the second half, or Washington does, the game could potentially be over based on a 2nd and 6, a 3rd and 6. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Bennett, you got one question before we go to break. He says, in all of your playing days, what player went through the most helmets during that season? I'm going to tell you this.
Going through helmets? Like what?
Breaking them. That was like
we went hitting like that in C2.
Oh, man. When I first broke my first face mask, you would have thought that I did to solve the world's problem.
We said, okay, we have face masks about it. You had your helmet straight up cracked. Maybe the helmets got better, but that's...
No, I hit a guy once, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I'm going to tell you, the guy that I saw that had broke the most, there's 2 of them, and they played here in Nebraska. Corey Schlesinger.
Okay, yeah.
Which is notorious, both here and there. But the guy that Corey was older when I played, and the one guy that I played with, I call him Dollar Bill. His name is Billy Legate. Hey. He had you had just the 2 buckles up there to keep in the helmet.
Yep.
My man had 6. Dollar Bill was not playing no games. I don't know where he was from. He's from some small town in Nebraska. Last time I checked, they said he's in a band. Yo, my man was wired up tight.
Just wanted to hit people.
He was wound up tight. And one time we were in the locker room and somebody misplaced his helmet, and he's like, "Hey, does anybody got my helmet?" Everybody like, "Man, whatever. You got headphones on." And then he got hyped. I was like, "Hey, find this man his helmet." Hey, Harrison, I said, "Get this brother his helmet right now. Get him his helmet, because there's gonna be some problems and we gotta go play a game." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Did anybody got my lid?" And everybody was like looking. I said, "Listen, all points bulletin. Find this man his helmet." Yes, JP, he was a wedge breaker and he was breaking faces.
Oh man, that was the worst because I think that's legal now, but I was the wall.
Yeah,
nothing worse than being the wall. Seeing the wedge breakers come at you, because those are picked for a reason.
Hey, Dollar Bill again. We played Michigan State one time. He used to wear these white gloves, and he had perfect running form. He didn't even break stride. He ran through the wedge and he He ran through the wedge, ran through the kick returner, and he probably could have just ran right out the stadium,
Just
man.
the Forrest Gump situation. Just keep running.
Destroying. And Coach Osborne, I mean, he would just, I mean, it was play after play after play. Anyways, our play went a bit too long. We're going to take a quick break, come back. I'll give my predictions. It's obviously Buffalo by 1,000. I'll predict the Washington-Philly game. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer, invites you to their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney on February 5th and 6th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers, covering topics such as machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and exact apply technology. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation, see and spray, and variable rate operation. Don't miss this opportunity, February 5th and 6th in Kearney. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Early break. Jokes, as Kevin says, the old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good joke, good
I love
one.
that joke. You're a good one.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
We're back. Quick segment. Jay Foreman, Inside Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Championship weekend, I'm going to predict. I think the Commanders are going to win. Here's why I think the Commanders are going to win. I think the Phillies defense is good. Not great, but I think Jalen Hurts is compromised. And so I'm assuming Washington is going to try to make him win the game. And he looked like he had a pretty significant knee injury. It might, it's going to be good in the beginning of the game because he hadn't been hit. But you're going to have to, I think if I'm rushing the quarterback, and unfortunately, I'm not trying to injure him, I'm trying to hurt him, get him out of the game. That's the way it's got to be, Harrison.
No, I think you're right. I was saying this on Thursday. Yeah, it was me and Moore. We're think if Eagles lose, it's because Hurts played a terrible game.
And you know what? The connection or disconnection between, it's weird because they have the best roster in the league.
It's not even close, but we're going through it because wide receivers, you're going probably with the Eagles. Offensive line, you're going with the Eagles. Defensive line, you're going with the Eagles. Running back room, you're going to go with the Eagles. And then you get to the quarterback. It's kind of interesting because Daniels has been on fire, so you're probably going to lean there. Coaching, you might actually go with Commanders.
Right.
And those were the two things.
And also, Commanders are hot.
Yeah.
And then the most important position. Jaden Daniels ain't gonna play perfect today. He's in for a different type of vibe, championship weekend. But then Jalen Hurts isn't physically able to play to his potential.
And he's in a pressure cooker. Because they need this one more. Like if the Commanders lose this game, fan base is all right.
Well, if Philly loses this game, they looking at quarterbacks in the draft. Because AJ and Devontae, they're too good not to be able to have a quarterback be able to get them. You can't cover those two dudes. So there's a lot of pressure. It's kind of like, remember when Kawhi Leonard and them lost?
Which team for Kawhi?
Out there with the Clippers, when they were supposed to be the Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference Final, and Stephen A. Smith went off, but the Clippers end up losing.
Yep.
Same thing. Anyways, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Everybody's scared of Bron, but and also is no without saying. I love them, or I don't love. I respect Kansas City, but this is the year for Buffalo.
It is. I agree.
It is. And you guys you Chiefs fans, I don't feel sorry for you. Buffalo Bills by 1,000. Anyway, Jay Foreman, appreciate you listening. We'll holler at you next week.